Hey, today I want to introduce you to my favorite half tower from LEGO. Here we have the 10303 and 30. If you were to buy two, the 2666 Barad-Dûr from the Lord of the Rings. And it's one of the largest LEGO sets currently available on the market. For $450 you get almost 3,500 pieces and some minifigures, but I'll show you that in more detail. We have a set here that's definitely for adults. It says 18 on it. Which kid can actually afford that? Plus you have to ask, which kid is such a huge fan of the Lord of the Rings series like my generation is? The Lord of the Rings is actually the franchise I connect with the most, more than Harry Potter, more than Star Wars. It's the Lord of the Rings movies that shaped me as a kid, which I watched with my dad long before I was old enough to really see them. And that's why you're getting a Lord of the Rings fanboy review and not a review of the set in general. Because let's be clear from the start, you only have half a tower here. Does it bother me? No, the thing is just going to sit there. The thing is standing with one side against the wall, so they did it pretty okay. Of course, a folding mechanism at the back would have been nicer here. A complete tower that you can set up and view from all sides. They didn't do that, but who can blame them? They really didn't have any margin. At the selling price of $450 to make this thing any bigger. But enough joking around. This set is really fun. I had a blast building it. I built it with friendly support on a Sunday. 1,000. It reminds me of a smooth mouth sour and out of the tower. We built this on Sunday, 2 of them. Thanks, Christoph, let's help out. And we have a net build time of 12 hours in total. Short breaks in between. It was a great community experience. We have a set here that has few challenges. It's also suitable for novices or people who haven't dealt with LEGO in a very long time, but who like their ring property. 2001 is exactly the set. Of course, only if they're willing to cough up the change. But putting the price aside, and the fact that the tower is only half built, there's also a huge sticker sheet that really makes this whole beautiful interior. Aside from that, it's a great set. We even have a glowstone. I don't know if you can see it well with the study lighting, but it's a great play feature, right? You can press on it. Everything I say sounds so ironic now and ha ha ha, crappy set. No, really like the set, and I think I'll put it somewhere in the office. The actual highlight for me in this set is the 10 minifigures. First of all, we have Sam, Frodo and Gollum. Gollum is really interesting here with just the 2 arms that come on. Really nice figures. I recently built the fake Rivendell set from Timo. There were also minifigures included, and they were really nothing like these here. They were poorly printed, low quality, and you can immediately tell that I don't care about the tool model legs. The main thing is that Sam looks good, and he has his little bottles with him that can glow in the dark. Not that he's being attacked by a few spiders. Of course, the rope that Galadriel gave him as a gift in the book is missing. But the thing is based on the film license, so that's not so bad because it didn't even appear in the normal cut. Speaking of the movie, this set actually looks quite film-like from the front. I think it's great that if you buy several of these and don't decide to build on the back, you can also build up on top. Just pull this pen out, and here we could stack higher and higher and higher and build a really film-accurate repair. But I think it's already high enough. I don't need a measuring tool to check the exact sizes right now. I think LEGO says it's 83 cm tall, 45 cm wide, and 30 cm deep. Other topics? For us, we never really saw much of the inside of Barad-Dûr, the standard version of the Lord of the Rings. We know that Gollum was tortured in Mordor, so it might be fitting that we see the torture area in Barad-Dûr, just like in the movie. Unfortunately, we don't have a rack here, but we do have a small area on the bottom floor where a bit of torture happens. Exactly. And down below, we see a skeleton hovering over lava. It's film accurate enough for me. Otherwise, we don't really see anything of Barad-Dûr's interior. But it's nice to see we have a forge. It might remind you a bit of what happens with Saruman in the second part, but quite nice. The oxen are working here. It's better this way, because otherwise the big boss will come and hit down. Unlike the things he does, they have to work here and don't have a family on the first floor. I think that's really nice. We have a reference to that, as mentioned in the second part. There's meat on the menu again. There we have a sticker at the back. Great, that brings it a bit closer. There are also little hints scattered throughout the instructions so that no one misses them. Because what's better than sticking on the sticker and reading the instructions? There's meat on the menu again, that's the last one, you know. I think it's really well done. Nice details in the interior. That's not how I imagine Barad-Dûr, with people feasting there. Thought that sounds like torture to me. On the floor above, we also find Sauron's throne, where he sits in his human form, just like in the intro of The Lord of the Rings, with his mace. And behind that, watch out for gameplay features. There's a Palantir hidden. Basically nice that you can also build a bit there. And also forgot, you can open the door with totally complicated technology. You've never seen it before, have you? No joke, a bit of movement on set feels really good. An important character is of course the mouth of Sauron. We know him, we love him from the extended version of the movies. Great character, I think it's wonderfully captured. Also back to Sauron. Really, really nice minifigure. It also works for around $100 or so. This one minifigure, this headpiece, I don't know, I wouldn't buy it for that. But I have to say, I think the minifigures here are really well done. But that could also be the fanboy talking to me. Probably that's how it is. Basically, I'm not really into minifigures that much. I unpacked the D&D minifigures last week. You can find the video here. However, I was much more impressed by the Lord of the Rings minifigures, but that's also because I can relate to the franchise a lot more. Mozart has a room where he would write letters to his friends, but it actually comes with a great print, and he has the mithril shirt from Frodo, which was taken off in the third part, with which he wanted to convince the Fellowship that Frodo was already dead. And at the very top, there's a tower. I don't know what they were thinking, but up there we have a library, the movable ladder. I didn't know Sauron was such a bookworm, and that there are a few books at the top of the tower. But of course, with such a big eye, you need something to see. In the back, we can see this pin again that you can press to light up the eye. We have a clapper beam in there, we have a light that lights up a bit, and you have to touch it at the top to turn it on. It's pretty cool. It's not something you'd really press after building it, unless you want to show another Rings movie fan that the eye can light up. Basically, I think the design of the eye and the building technique look really good, and they've captured it very well, and it's very close to the film. Definitely closer than the Rings of Power, right? If we look at the facade again earlier, we had a lot of black that was used, a few stones here and there that add a bit of grey ochre, and a lot of lava at the bottom. So when you start building, we first have a lot of orange, a bit of red, then it slowly turns black with a bit of grey in between, and then there's just a whole lot of black. So we have an incredible amount of black pieces used, but only on the outside. Inside, lime, green, cayenne, red, yellow, all the colors of the rainbow. And I have to say, when I built it with Christoph, I saw how to build something that someone who has little Lego experience, and we both thought this isn't really helping at all. But I have to say, I really think it helps that inside the colors are for someone who isn't building the 2001, so you don't have to strain yourself. Especially when you're building for 6 hours, you don't always have full attention. And if you just think, yes, that's how it should be, I don't even look closely at the instructions, then the colors work really well. You can totally orient yourself subconsciously, and I built that Star Wars Jazzmog before, and that mock stressed me out so much. I could never have built it here in the evening to relax because I had to focus so hard on getting every single piece right. Here, you can build this in no time at all. You can watch the Rings of Power on the side, and once you've brushed off the pieces, you can keep building. My opinion on the set is, it's great. It's way too expensive. It's half a tower. It has way overpriced minifigures, and it's still great. And that's just the fanboy in me saying, hey, it's Barad-Dûr. It's Lord of the Rings. This is the best we've gotten from Lord of the Rings since the third part. We've only gotten crap, Hobbit, and Rings of Power. And now we have a Lego set here. I didn't play with Lego back when the Lego Lord of the Rings sets came out. Sure, Rivendell is still great, but it's just a shame that fun is only reserved for people who want to spend $450 on this stuff. And I wonder, why aren't there any smaller sets available? And then it hits me, it really hits me. It's clear, because we're spending a lot of money on this. It's all adult men who really like this franchise. And they have the money, like $54, so why not treat yourself for Christmas or your birthday and say, hey, I'm going to build this. And the fact that this will be raffled off is clear. I think it's totally fine to be strong and not buy. You usually have 12 hours of fun. I don't know if you can have more fun anywhere else for 54 hours, probably not. And then it stands there, and it's big, and if there's not a spot free somewhere, you'll have to take it apart again, because your better half probably won't think it's great if you're standing in the living room, and just because they love you, they'll want to get rid of the plastic waste. So, as always, everyone has to decide for themselves whether they think it's good or bad. I have to say, this is a set with a lot of weaknesses, and I still think it's great. But I know exactly where that's coming from. And that comes from a deep love for the 2001 movies. That came at just the right time, brought in just the right corner. And it's just silly that there's such a small diorama or a little setup where Frodo, Sam, and Gollum throw the ring into Mount Doom. But so what? I have Frodo, Sam, and Gollum with me. That's what I need. And of course, I wish for the other big sets now, a huge Minas Tirith, a Helm's Deep with 1,000 minifigures. But that will never happen, at least not at a price that an average person would want to pay. We still have an unbuilt Emok of Barad-Dûr at our place. I didn't manage to build it. There will also be a comparison video coming up. If you're interested, between this set that LEGO provides and what he made with Emok. But the building process is just so exhausting and time-consuming. That was really fun. I have to say, LEGO is fair. I had a blast building it. Sure, I was in good company. We watched, listened to, and talked about funny things. You don't need a lot of brain cells to build this. Then you can really focus on other things. And the Emok can't provide that. But the question is whether the Emok ends up being a better set that looks nicer. If you're interested in that, write it in the comments. And then we can compare them. Maybe I'll approach it differently to build it for myself so we can talk about it. But then I would say everything's been said. Awesome set with a lot of weaknesses, which is due to the license. LEGO seems to be doing it right by bombarding us with licenses, because dumb people like me, we buy it. So in that sense, ciao.